Dharamjot, who's there with me in the newsroom. We've been tracking the developments, Dharam, and as what Idris has just shared with us, that major shelling is taking place across the LOC. This is no longer small arms fire. The shelling has been taking place since a number of hours now. This seems to be the first response that Pakistan has had to Operation Sindoor, and it is much different than the rhetoric they had back in 2019 when the Balakot airstrikes took place, where they said nothing really happened. Clearly, this time their reaction has already come in the form of shelling which is taking place. This is the 13th night. Till now, they said small arms fire was taking place, but now we're seeing major shelling taking place, and even civilians have been injured in the Poonch district in the valley.
Well, you're absolutely right, Shivan. It's an escalation, the likes of which we haven't seen in a long time between India and Pakistan. Now, having said that, this, as you rightly mentioned, this is clearly a reaction coming from the Pakistani side, because the Indian armed forces have done some damage, and they've done some damage to the terror infrastructure that India's neighbor has been harboring for years now. If I could just quickly go into a few details, Shivan, we have these locations of the 9 terror sites that the Indian armed forces struck a couple of hours ago. Bahawalpur, as we've been talking about, and Murdike also, as we've been talking about in Muridke, Gulpur. There's the LET camp in Savai. There's the Bilal camp, which is a Jaish-e-Mohammed launch pad that has been known to the Indian armed forces for a while now. There's the LET camp in Kotli. There's the Barnala camp, which is just 10 kilometers from the LOC in the Pakistani side. There's the Sarjal camp, which is again a Jaish-e-Mohammed camp. And there's the Mehmoona camp, which is 15 kilometers from the international border, somewhere near Sialkot in Pakistan. So these are the sites that the Indian armed forces struck between 1:30 a.m. to 2 a.m. Just a few short hours ago, Shivan, and after which they announced that these 9 sites have been struck. Now, it is expected that the Indian armed forces will put out a more detailed statement and share more information during the press conference later this evening. But clearly, a lot has already developed on the ground, Shivan, as we've been hearing from Idris. The border has been active for the past 13, 14 days. It's escalated even more just moments after India's precision strike on the terror camps in parts of mainland Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir as well. So how this is going to pan out in the next few hours during the course of the day, we'll have to watch very closely, because the Pakistani side is expected to react. This is something that the Indian armed forces were prepared for, and they knew this is going to happen, which is why we've been talking about, again and again, Shivan, that video that the Indian Army posted, the timing of which has really captured the attention. Before they announced the strike that happened, the terror camps that they struck, just minutes before that, they posted a video of their readiness to win and to go to battle. So clearly the Indian armed forces are ready. We know from sources that have been talking to ANI saying that this is clearly a tri-service operation that has been carried out. The Indian Air Force, the Indian Navy and the Indian Army are equally involved in carrying out this precision strike on terror camps on the other side of the LOC and the border. So how all these 3 forces now respond going forward, we are expecting a flurry of meetings. We are expecting statements. We are expecting more information later in the course of the day. But the situation as far as the valley is concerned, as far as the LOC and the international border between India and Pakistan is concerned, is definitely, it's escalated at the moment. The forces are alert. As I was telling you before, civilians have been asked to be prepared for any and all circumstances. The forces on the ground in border areas of Rajasthan, Punjab, of Jammu and Kashmir, they have been preparing the border villages for any sort of situation that may arise in case there's an escalation, in case there's any unprovoked firing from the Pakistani side. So we are going to expect more details and more developments on this front later in the day. But the Indian Armed Forces clearly on the ground, ready for any and all kind of situations, no matter how this plays out from the Pakistani side, Shivam.
Thanks, Dharam. I'll of course come back to you as the developments continue to pour in. I'll now cut across to Idris, who's there in Srinagar. Idris, Srinagar is now waking up, and you've been reporting since the wee hours of the night. We've all been up tracking minute by minute developments coming in as Operation Sindoor has been carried out by the Indian Armed Forces. What's the mood and the temperature like around you? Anything that you're picking up from those people who are around you? How is Srinagar waking up to the news of what is happening and of what has already happened, Operation Sindoor, and what is taking place at the LOC with the shelling taking place and even civilians getting injured?
Well, yes, Shivan, if we talk about the population in Kashmir, as I told you earlier also that we did at least from 1 a.m. to 2, there were jets moving out in the air, hovering around all over Srinagar and the Kashmir division, and that's how the whole population seemed to be up already because of the noise of the jets that was all going on for at least 45 minutes. After that, we've seen that a lot of people who are waking up now are definitely shocked because we did see some of the helicopter movements yet again in the sky in Srinagar at the moment. But what we are hearing from the line of control, from especially areas which are very close to the line of control in Kupwara as well as in Handwara and Baramulla, there has been some massive firing from the opposite side, from the Pak army, which is also which is not only targeting basically the Indian Armed Forces or the bunkers placed on the forward post, but also the civilian population. We just got a news from the Kupwara that one of the civilian houses has also caught fire due to the shelling that has been done by the Pakistani army from the other side. We've seen not at one place but multiple locations ceasefire violation has taken place yet again today in the northern part of Kashmir as well as in the Jammu division. There have been some injuries reported from the Jammu division as well due to the shelling from the Pakistan army. Let me tell you that at every place wherever there has been ceasefire violation, it's been retaliated by the Indian armed forces on the line of control. But since Pakistan now is not only targeting the Indian armed forces, their bunkers, but also the civilian population, that is seemingly a bit of a worry for the locals who are living very close to the bordering areas. A lot of people living close to the forward post have been moved from there, have been asked to go either into the bunkers or take shelter at safer places. The Indian Army has already moved into action. One, they are giving a befitting reply to the Pakistan Army at the line of control. On the other hand, they are also busy in evacuating the people who live close to these areas. As I said, the civilian population now under attack from the Pakistani Army, and it seems to be their first response to the targeted attacks that were carried out by the Indian Armed Forces on the 9 locations of the terrorist camps.
Idris, as you correctly mentioned, the civilian population in India is now under attack by the Pakistani army as shelling is taking place, and they are now targeting civilians here on the Indian side of the border as well in the Poonch district. Idris, you mentioned that you even saw a helicopter going past you as a little earlier. If you can elaborate a little more, anything that you observed, did it seem like a military chopper? Did it seem like a civilian chopper? Was it more of a rescue chopper? Anything that you picked up from what you saw as you saw the chopper going past you?
Well, Shivan, as the authorities have already announced that the Srinagar airport will be closed for the commercial flights, whereas we've also heard Jammu, Leh, Dharamshala and some of the airports in North India have been completely shut for at least 24 hours for any commercial flight. So at the moment, whatever we see in the sky, whether they are jets or the helicopters that are moving, they are definitely of the Indian Armed Forces. We've seen from 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. there were jets moving on. There was extreme noise of the jets that basically was one of the reasons that people across the valley were awake, because of the noise that they heard due to these jets. After that, there has been complete lull. We've not heard any of the movement, especially aerial movement, in the last many hours. But just a while, just 5 minutes ago, we did see some helicopter movement yet again in the air. On the other hand, what we are hearing from the line of control is that the civilian population is under attack, and it could be a rescue operation for that, maybe to carry out the civilian population from these forward post areas, which could could be under attack from the Pakistan army. And it seems Pakistan army's first reaction is not only to attack the military post on the forward post, but also the civilian population that lives close to the line of control and international border. And that is definitely going to be a worry, and people definitely need to be moved away from those areas before any damage is done. We've heard that at least 3 people, one of them very critical, a woman very critical, being treated at the hospital in Poonch, while as 2 others are also injured. They've been shifted to the hospital for treatment. So people who are living on the line of control, especially with the first light now here, they will be asked to move out from those places.